5,000-year-old fashion secrets. From mummy to catwalk. Do you think high fashion is modern? Think again. We'll dive deep into the wardrobes of the pharaohs to uncover the timeless, luxurious trends that define ultimate power. What's amazing? Sharp eyeliner, solid gold jewelry and sophisticated pleating techniques from ancient Egypt are dominating today's fashion runways. Join us to explore the enchanting connection between the glorious past and modern style. Sign up now to see how history becomes stylish. Welcome to the episode. Where did Dior borrow its ideas from? Discovering ancient Egyptian fashion, on the channel Legends of Style. People's fashion in ancient Egyptian civilization stood out for its simplicity and gentleness, mainly using linen and clearly reflecting social status through materials, designs and accessories. A. Materials and techniques. 1. Unique material. Linen was not only a unique material, but also a core part of the culture, economy and religion of ancient Egypt. The process of making linen was labor-intensive, which partly explains why fine linen was so expensive. Everyone wore linen, but the quality of the fabric immediately revealed the wearer's social status. Upper-class linen. Extremely smooth, light, almost transparent and perfectly bleached. These fabrics have a dense weave, are soft and draped beautifully. They are often delicately pleated, showing wealth because this process is very laborious. Budget linen. Coarser, thicker, natural color, light brown or beige, and less processed. The clothes of farmers or craftsmen were often durable but not as comfortable and beautiful as those of nobles. The rejection of wool was not only due to climate but also for deeply spiritual reasons. Wool comes from animals, sheep, and in many Egyptian religious ceremonies, anything of animal origin, except specifically sacrificial skins, was considered impure. Priests and pharaohs absolutely forbade wearing wool when conducting rituals or serving in the temple. They were only allowed to wear pure white linen to show purity before the gods. In short, linen was the ideal material for the desert climate, airy, absorbent, and conformed to strict religious rules, making it the sole foundation of ancient Egyptian fashion. 2. Natural color. Before being bleached, natural flax fibers have a fairly diverse color range, depending on the flax variety, growing conditions and fiber soaking process. Popular colors include off-white, ecru. This is the most common color of flax fiber after being soaked and dried properly. Beige, oatmeal, golden brown. Flax fibers can have warmer shades, especially if the processing is not thorough or due to natural conditions. Light gray to silver gray, light gray, pearl gray. Some fiber soaking processes can create a natural gray color for linen fibers. The clothing of the working class, farmers, and slaves often retained these natural, rustic colors and was rarely dyed. Although there are many natural shades, the dominant color in ancient Egyptian clothing, especially among the elite and for ceremonial purposes, was pure white and was rarely dyed. Natural colors of linen include off-white, beige, tan and light gray. However, through an elaborate process of bleaching in the sun, pure white became the dominant and most popular color, reflecting both the practical needs of the climate and the deep belief in purity in ancient Egyptian culture. 3. Exquisite pleating. The pleating technique on ancient Egyptian costumes was an important identifying mark of the upper class and was a very sophisticated craft process. Although the exact details remain a mystery, archaeologists have come up with some specific hypotheses based on artifacts and drawings. Status symbol. Pleating is a labor and material-intensive process, as more fabric is needed to create the pleats. Therefore, only pharaohs, nobles and priests could afford to own pleated clothes. Visual effect and comfort. The pleats create volume, allowing better air circulation, helping the wearer stay cooler in hot climates. When moving, the pleats create a beautiful motion effect. Religious significance. Pleating is often associated with the sun's rays and the radiance of the sun god Re. Thus it has sacred and solemn significance. A very important point is that these lines are not permanent. The vegetable glue or glue used to hold the style will dissolve when washed. This meant that after each wash, the aristocrats' clothes had to be pleated again, adding value and the labor required to preserve the clothes. 4. Dyes. The dyes in ancient Egyptian clothing were mainly of natural origin from plants and minerals, and their dyeing techniques were quite developed. Although white fabric was still the most popular, the main dye colors used include red, madder. The most common source is madder root, Rubia tinctorum. The root of this plant contains the compounds alizarin and purpurin, which produce a range of colors from vermilion, orange, peach to pale pink depending on treatment and mordant. Pieces of cloth dyed red with madder were found in the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Blue, indigo. Blue comes from the indigo plant, Indigofera tinctoria, or the woad plant, Asatis tinctoria. The production of indigo dye is complex, requiring a fermentation process to extract the indigotin dye. Indigo clothing is considered a luxury item and is mainly for the upper class. Yellow and orange. Safflower. The safflower plant, Carthamus tinctorius, or safflower, is an important source of dyes, especially for yellow and red, orange colors. Safflower petals contain both yellow and carthamin red pigments. Safflower dye was found on mummy bandages and tomb wreaths. Yellow. Reseda luteola, dyer's rocket, or turmeric can also be used for a more vibrant yellow color. Brown. Can use walnut bark or some other tree roots. Henna. Although primarily used to dye hair and nails, henna can also be used to color fabrics. Compared to Egyptian painting, which used more durable mineral pigments such as Egyptian cerulean or ochre, the color palette on dyed fabric was quite limited, mainly revolving around reds, yellows, and blues. Green or purple colors are often created by dyeing twice, e.g. yellow then blue, or mixing different dyes, but are rare on everyday clothing. B. Class and gender-specific costumes. 1. Men. Loincloth, shanty, is the most basic and popular men's clothing in ancient Egypt. Worn by all social classes, from farmers, soldiers to even pharaohs. Basically, shanty is a long rectangular piece of fabric, wrapped around the hip area and secured by tucking one end of the fabric into a tight fold at the waist or using a belt, girdle. The material is almost always made from linen. In the early days, some loincloths were made from leather or animal skin, but linen quickly became the preferred material because it was light, airy and easy to wash. The color is usually white or the natural color of linen, beige. Light brown. Laborer, farmer, usually short, reaching mid-thigh or above the knee for ease of movement when working with hands. Raw linen, not bleached or elaborately treated. Simple, no decoration, secured by simple fabric stuffing or simple fabric belt. Priest, official, pharaoh, longer, may reach below the knee or calf, especially during the Middle Kingdom and New Kingdom. Fine, thin, pure bleached linen, often intricately pleated, intricate with starched pleats, pleating, creating volume or protrusion at the front. During the New Kingdom, upper-class men often wore a thin, transparent, pleated skirt over the basic shanty. Ornate belts are used, sometimes studded with gems or precious metals, and may have a sturdy triangular apron attached to the front. Overall, the shanty was a versatile garment, adapted to practical needs, and is a good example of ancient Egyptian fashion using the same basic silhouette but clearly distinguishing social status through materials and levels of decoration. 2. Women. The sheath dress, calasiris, was the most important and symbolic garment of ancient Egyptian women for thousands of years. From the Old Kingdom to the New Kingdom. Shape. Basically, calasiris is a long dress that hugs the body, sheath dress. It usually takes the shape of a rectangular tube of fabric sewn along one side. Length. Usually long from just below the chest or shoulder level down to the ankles. Length may vary slightly depending on status and period. Straps, shoulder straps. In the earliest kingdoms, dresses were often held up by two wide or thin straps that went over the shoulders. These strings can meet in the front or cross at the back. Upper body. Artistic drawings often depict women wearing calasiris that expose one or both breasts. or skirts that begin just below the breasts. However, surviving statues or artifacts show that the chest may have been covered more discreetly. An important point to note is the difference between artistic and real images of Calasiris. In art, paintings, reliefs, the skirt is drawn extremely tight, thin and almost transparent, showing off the body's curves perfectly. This is said to be an idealized image of the youth and beauty of aristocratic women, and does not necessarily reflect the tightness of real-life clothing. In reality, archaeological artifacts, remains of Calasiris fabric show that they were often sewn a bit looser, allowing for easier and more comfortable movement in hot climates. They can be secured with a girdle to create shape, but not to the point of being unrealistically tight like in the picture. Differences by class and period. Upper class. Dresses made from the finest linen, thinly woven and transparent, during the New Kingdom, circa 1550 to 1077 BC. These dresses became more elaborate, often fully pleated, and could be worn with a thin cloak or shawl over it. Decoration with beads or gold embroidery is also popular. Working class. Dresses made from coarser, thicker linen with little or no decoration. The design is simpler and more practical for daily work. To complete the Calasiris outfit, Egyptian women use many accessories. Belt helps shape the waist and fix the skirt, often beautifully decorated. Jewelry. Wide necklaces, usek, bracelets, anklets made from gold, precious stones, turquoise, are indispensable items, adding elegance to a simple linen dress. Shawl. A large linen sheet that can be wrapped around the shoulders or shaded from the sun as needed. 3. Children. Children, of all classes, often do not wear clothes until they reach puberty to cope with the heat. 4. Class distinction. The difference in status is expressed through the quality of fabric and the sophistication of the outfit. Upper class, pharaohs. Nobles, priests, wear clothes made from high-quality linen, often bleached, intricately pleated, and dyed in bright colors. Pharaohs and royalty also used gold, silver and precious stones for decoration. Working class, wear simple clothes, with little or no decoration, made from raw linen, natural colors. C. Accessories and beauty details. 1. Hair and wigs. In the beauty culture of the ancient Egyptians, hair and wigs played an extremely important role, showing social status, wealth, and even religious beliefs. Surprisingly, most ancient Egyptians, both men and women of the upper class, often shaved their heads or cut their hair very short. Main reasons include hygiene. Helps avoid lice and other parasites in the hot and humid climate along the Nile River. Cool. Helps the body stay cooler under harsh sunlight. Convenience. Easier to wear wigs and better care for them. Children often keep their heads bald until puberty, sometimes leaving a long lock of hair at the temples called youth curls. Wigs are an inseparable item for the upper class and one of the most luxurious accessories. Real hair. The most expensive wigs are made from real human hair. The hair is collected, cleaned, and woven into small braids that are then attached to a net of plant fibers or linen. Alternative materials. The middle class or people with lower incomes use wigs made from palm fiber, sheep wool, or other plant fibers. Decoration. The wigs of the nobility were also decorated with gold, plaster, glass, and precious stones. Wig style clearly reflects the wearer's status and profession. Basic style, bob, Cleopatra style, popular is the shoulder-length bob hairstyle. Cut flat and hugging the face, creating a neat, formal appearance. Royal, ceremonial wigs. Pharaohs and the nobility owned elaborate wigs with many small tight braids, sometimes studded with jewels or scented oils. They believed that wearing wigs, and fake beards, brought them closer to the gods, especially the god Osiris. Scented wax. Upper-class Egyptians often placed a cone-shaped block of scented wax on top of their heads when attending parties. The wax will slowly melt in the heat, emitting a pleasant fragrance and making the wig shiny. Intended use. Beauty. Wigs help Egyptians achieve the ideal look of thick, shiny black hair. Protection. Cover your head from harsh sunlight. Spirituality. Wigs are inseparable objects, buried with their owners for use in the afterlife. Class distinction. Slaves and low-class people are often not allowed to wear wigs or only wear very simple ones. Not allowed to shape their image as desired. Through wigs, the ancient Egyptians transformed a practical necessity into a sophisticated art form and an important social indicator. 2. Makeup and cosmetics. Makeup and cosmetics were an integral part of ancient Egyptian life, widely used by both men and women, not only for beauty purposes but also for health, hygiene and religion. Kohl, eyeliner. Kohl is the most iconic cosmetic of ancient Egypt. Color and composition. Kohl is a deep black color. The main ingredient is galena, a natural lead sulfide ore, finely ground into powder, then mixed with a little animal fat or oil to create adhesion. Kohl powder is stored in cute little boxes and applied to the eyes with a small stick, usually made of ivory, wood or metal. Beauty purpose. Draw a bold line from the inner corner of the eye extending to the temple, creating the effect of big, sharp eyes. Eye protection. Egyptians believed that kohl helped protect the eyes from desert dirt and bright sunlight. Modern scientific studies have confirmed that lead compounds in kohl have mild antibacterial properties, helping to prevent eye infections caused by Nile water. Spirituality. Kohl is considered a talisman, helping to protect the wearer from the evil eye, and is associated with Horus, god of the sky, and Ra, god of the sun. Green eyeshadow. In addition to black kohl, green eyeshadow is also very popular. Ingredients. Made from finely ground malachite, green agate stone. Purpose. Apply on the eyelids or under the kohl line to create a color highlight. Also has the same protective effect as kohl. Lipstick and blush, ochre, to color the lips and cheeks. Egyptians used a natural pigment. Ingredients. Red ochre, a clay containing iron oxide. This powder is mixed with animal fat or tree resin to form a soft red wax. How to use. Apply to cheekbones as blush or to lips as lipstick. Fragrance oils and perfumes. Personal hygiene and scent are highly valued. Oils and fats. Egyptians used many types of vegetable oils, such as sesame oil, castor oil, olive oil, moringa oil, as moisturizers to protect their skin from dryness and cracking due to heat. Perfume. Oil is soaked with fragrant plants such as water lily, poppy, rose, mint, to create oil-based perfume. Scented wax pieces. As mentioned, the upper class wore scented wax pieces on their heads to spread scent at parties. Henna. Although not used for facial makeup, henna is widely used to dye hair, cover gray hair, and to dye fingernails and toenails orange or red. In short, makeup in ancient Egypt was an art and science, combining natural beauty with health-protecting elements and carrying a deep spiritual meaning. 3. Jewelry. Ancient Egyptian jewelry was not only a decorative beauty but also contained profound religious and spiritual meanings and was the clearest symbol of social status. Both men and women of all classes wore jewelry. Ancient Egyptian jewelry served many purposes. Amulets. This is the most important function. Most jewelry bears images of gods, such as Anubis, Bastet, or sacred symbols to protect the wearer from evil spirits, disease and danger. Status symbol. The material and sophistication of jewelry reflect the wealth and power of the owner. Rich people wear gold, silver and precious stones. Poor people wore faience or bronze ceramics. Prepare for death. Jewelry is an important burial item, buried with the dead to ensure safety and rebirth in the afterlife. Beauty. Honors the beauty of the body, complementing simple linen outfits. The ancient Egyptians were master jewelers, using a variety of materials. Gold, the most popular metal because it is easy to exploit and is considered the flesh of the gods, related to the sun god Ra. Silver, more rare than gold in Egypt, so sometimes even more expensive. Semi-precious stones. Many types of stones are used, each with its own symbolic meaning. Turquoise, sky blue, symbolizing life and rebirth. Lapis lazuli, dark blue, symbolizing the sky and the divine realm. Red agate, carnelian, red, symbolizing energy and strength. Amethyst, garnet, also commonly used. Faience, an artificial turquoise blue ceramic, cheaper than gemstones, used to produce beads and amulets for the common class. Popular types of jewelry. Usek necklace, broad collar, the widest, heaviest and most splendid necklace, covering from the shoulders to the chest. It is made from hundreds of small beads strung together, symbolizing the power of royalty and nobility. Pendants and amulets, bearing images such as the Ankh, key to life, the Eye of Horus, Wadjet, protection, and the scarab, rebirth, rising sun. Bracelets and anklet, both men and women wear them on their wrists. Upper arms and calves. Rings, often engraved with hieroglyphs or symbols, used to pray for luck and express personality. Earrings became more popular during the New Kingdom, with a variety of designs. Materials. Gold is the most popular metal, along with silver, copper, and semi-precious stones such as turquoise, lapis lazuli, and carnelian. Amulets. Jewelry often has the shape of gods, such as bees. Anubis, or sacred symbols, Horus Eye, Wadjet, scarab beetle, to protect the wearer. 4. Shoes. The shoes of ancient Egyptians were mainly sandals, and wearing or not wearing shoes clearly reflected social status and context of use. Most Egyptians, especially the working class such as farmers, builders, and slaves, often went barefoot. This helped them maintain agility in their work and was said to have religious significance in some contexts, as they considered the land of Egypt sacred and wanted to maintain a spiritual connection to it. When needing to wear shoes, Egyptians used sandals made from available natural materials. Main materials. The most common materials are papyrus and reed. Fibers from these plants are tightly braided to form the soles and straps of sandals. Other materials. Animal skin is also used, especially for straps or more durable soles. Design. The sandals have a simple design, like today's flip-flops, with a strap that goes around the toes and secures at the ankle. Characteristics. Ancient Egyptian sandals often had curved toes, especially those of the upper class. A design believed to keep the sandals clean from dirt on the ground or simply as an aesthetic style. Like clothing and jewelry, shoes are a sign of social status. Popular class. Wear sandals made from rough sedge or reed. Simple, with little or no decoration. Sometimes they don't own any sandals at all. The upper class and pharaohs owned exquisitely crafted sandals, from better quality materials, perhaps decorated with gold or studded with precious stones. A famous example is Pharaoh Tutankhamun's sandals, found in his tomb, with thick and elaborately decorated straps made from gold and leather. Owning a pair of beautiful and elaborate sandals showed wealth to the point that servants often had to carry their master's sandals with them, and the master only wore them when necessary or on important occasions. Other types of shoes. Although very rare, some other types of footwear are also found, such as high heels or soft boots made of leather for some special purposes, e.g. butchers wear high shoes to avoid stepping on animal internal organs, or during specific ceremonies. Through these specific details, it can be seen that ancient Egyptian fashion was a sophisticated system that both served the practical needs of the climate and clearly expressed their social structure and deep spiritual beliefs. Ancient Egyptian fashion deeply influenced modern times through airy linen, delicate pleating techniques, Issey Miyake's pleats please, symbolic motifs, beetles, rose eyes, lotus flowers, slender garment designs, tunics, wrap dresses, and a cult of lavish jewelry, cosmetics, and wigs, endlessly inspiring designers and shaping beauty trends, symbols of power, luxury, and femininity, up to this day. Specific effects. 1. Linen fabrics and techniques. Linen. The main material because it is light, breathable, ideal for hot climates, and still used in high-end fashion today. Pleats. The technique of creating sophisticated pleats, creating elegance, was developed by designers such as Issey Miyake into the modern, pleats please, line. 2. Outfit and style. Calasiris dress. A tight, sexy wrap dress, the forerunner of many modern tunic, pullover, designs. Slender outfit. Slim fit. Deep shoulder cut reminiscent of Queen Cleopatra's style. Recreated in high-end collections. Pleated skirts. Short skirt variations with prominent pleated fronts are an inspiration for unique details in fashion. 3. Jewelry and accessories. Gorgeous jewelry. Gold, silver, precious stones, multicolored beads, broad collars imitating birds, beetles, lotus flowers, ankh, symbol of life, are still the inspiration for modern jewelry. Sandals. Similar to many simple sandals today. Wigs and cosmetics. Elaborate wigs, black eyeliner, kohl, lipstick, and popular perfume demonstrate a focus on personal beauty. 4. Color and pattern. Royal colors. Gold, emerald green, blue, crimson, dark purple are favorite. Motifs. Mythical symbols, animals, hieroglyphs, and geometry are used as embroidery, painted, and beaded motifs. 5. Symbolism and status. Costumes represent social status and beliefs. Beetles. Eyes of Ra, Shen rings, which remain valuable in high fashion and ceremonial wear. All in all, from the exquisite linen, the pleating techniques, to the meaningful jewelry symbols and captivating clothing lines, ancient Egyptian fashion is not only a thing of the past but also a living and constantly renewed source of inspiration in the world of contemporary fashion. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you find it interesting, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. The video episode ends here. See you in the next episode on the Legends of Style channel. In the next episode we will come to the fashion of people in the Indus Valley, Harappan civilization.